Hey guys, so I am going to be doing a practice session of a possible Christmas look that I might do. Nothing crazy, pretty simple. I'm just bored and I figured why not do a makeup session or makeup tutorial, I don't know, in the style that I do my makeup. Disclaimer, it's highly likely that this is not beauty guru approved, but this is how I personally do it, this is how I enjoy doing my makeup, and I'm sure I'll only improve in time if this is not the correct way. For everyone else who's a beginner, I'm probably on the same boat as you, so I thought it'd be nice to do a tutorial or a makeup session, whatever you want to call it. More so a session and not a tutorial. Alright, so we are going to start with foundation, and this is a Maybelline Fit Me in the shade 130. It's called Buff Beige, and I will be starting with the base of this foundation, and I personally do not apply that much foundation to my face. I don't like a thick layer of foundation because I'm going to apply things on top of it. However, some people love to pile it on. I can't do that though, because my face is acne prone, so it will break out if I do anything too crazy to it. Oh, I forgot. Before I do this, I should probably add a little bit of color correction onto my red spots right here. A couple of temporary scars on my face. I use a contour cream kit by Anastasia, or Anastasia, however people say it. And this is in the medium shades. First, I use a flat brush, really simple, and I usually get it in the shade yellow because I feel like this counteracts against the red. I also think I have yellow undertones, so this goes well. So you can see I just dabbed it, and here's some little melanin scars. And then here, this is from last night. I did a big no-no and extracted my blackheads, and it left me some little presents on my face because they didn't want to be out. Ignore the foundation. As you can see though, the foundation has oxidized a bit, so it's kind of orangey right now. Alright, so because this is like pretty drastic, I usually get a buffering brush like this one. I showed it in my previous video, and I just kind of tap on it. I don't want to smear it around because I want it to settle into my skin. I don't know if you can see this, but I am literally just tapping it out. And it's gonna, the yellow pigment is gonna stay primarily there, just trying to push it into my skin. Okay, so I got that part done. Now back to what I was doing previously. A lot of people pour this on their hands. I don't like to waste product, and I feel like a lot of it would be wasted if I just put it on my hands. So I just get it straight from the bottle and I put it on. As you can see, I'm not really putting a thick layer. Here is a little bit thick, but I don't put, for some reason, this is a me thing, I never like to put foundation on my nose. I like my nose to look as natural as possible because I feel like whenever I put foundation on my nose looks so cakey, and honestly, I don't think there's any solution to making it look less cakey other than just not putting it on my nose. And some people might think that that will look disproportional to the coloration on my face, but I don't think it does. I personally think it looks good because it makes my makeup look a little bit more natural because of the natural appearance of my nose. Sometimes I might add a little bit of foundation to just fix any discoloration or color patches, but for the most part I do not like putting foundation on my nose. So now I'm going to buff this out. I do not own a beauty blender. I have used off-brand beauty blenders and I personally have not liked those because a beauty blender is $20. I haven't made it a point to buy one because it's just so freaking expensive for a sponge. So I just go ahead and buff it. I probably would like a beauty blender if I had the original. I have heard things about the Real Techniques beauty sponges, and I know those are cheaper. But then again, I haven't made it a point to go out and buy one, so I just go ahead and buff my makeup with my buffer brush. So as you can see, my face is pretty even. My nose doesn't look too far off the color. It does look a little bit pale in some spots, but I can kind of just bring a little bit of product down to those areas without actually directly applying foundation on it. Okay. Alright, and I might need a little bit more foundation. I think because I'm making a video and saying that I don't like to pour foundation on my face, I started to get a little light with it, but I'm just going to add it to some patchy areas, which are like right here, right here, right here, right here. Again, I just put a little tiny bit and then buff it. And I'm going to be wearing a hat, so I'm not too crazy. I'm not going to be wearing a hat on Christmas, but I'm going to be wearing a hat today. So I'm not going to be too crazy with my forehead, especially because I do have those little tiny irritations. Okay, so as you can see, I'm not sure if that's a skin patch or if that's just some weird lighting, but yeah, it's probably a skin patch. I don't know. It doesn't, I don't see it in my mirror, but in the camera it shows. For the most part, it's even. I'm not going to go too crazy because, again, I like to look as natural as possible, but at the same time, I want to cover my blemishes. If I have little discolorations, I don't go cuckoo for it because it's part of my face. The only thing that I go crazy about is like blemishes and redness or irritations on my face, or maybe if I have some like patchy dry skin, I'll try to smooth that out with some ointment and maybe add some concealer on top of that. The next step I usually do is I'll get some concealer. I actually just purchased this. I've heard a lot about it. It is the Maybelline Master Concealer. I hear this is a really good dupe for the NARS concealer. I had a roommate who had a NARS concealer and she let me borrow it every now and then. And I loved it, but again, it's too expensive. And so I'm just gonna go with this little dupe that is much cheaper. It is kind of pricey for me, considering that I don't like to spend much money on anything, and I'm a huge bargainer. This was, I think, $8 at H-E-B. Yeah, that's pretty cheap, but not for me. For me, that's a little bit pricey. I like to lean towards the $5 side, $6 side of drugstore products. I feel like that's when it becomes a good deal. When it becomes $8, I'm like, I'll wait for a coupon. Which I did. I ended up waiting for a coupon, and I think it was spend $15 on Maybelline products, get $5 off. So I ended up spending $5 on this product. And I use this flat brush. Honestly, I don't know what brand this is. It's all faded off. But I use this concealer brush. Honestly, I should probably be trying I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna do this one. Actually, no, I'm gonna do this eye with this brush, and then I'm gonna do the other eye with that new concealer brush that I bought from Marshall's. That was Real Techniques. And it is a little bit streaky, probably just my brush, honestly, but it will buff out eventually. So I just used this flat brush, and now I'm gonna try that triangle concealer brush. Remember, this is the one with 3 corners, and then it's Real Techniques brush 102, and I'm going to try this one on this end. I honestly don't know if I should use the corner or what. I'm going to start with the flat side. Ugh. Can hear the bristles. It almost sounds like hay. Don't know how I feel about that. I don't really like that. Not as comfortable as my flat concealer brush, but you know, it's doing the job. Didn't really soak up that much product. Honestly, that did a much better job. It wasn't as comfortable to use, but it did do a really good job. So I'm going to buff this side out with this brush. You can see my eyes are pretty lightened, pretty brightened, and I did apply some lotion to my face. I washed my face before I started. So that is a key note to have. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go in with NYX Cosmetics HD Studio Photogenic Concealer. And I'm sure many of you have seen this before or heard of it. People also say that this is a dupe for the NARS concealer, but I love these. I actually used these before I got that Maybelline one, but the Maybelline one is a little bit more pigmented. So these are cheaper though. These are $5 a pop, and this is in shade 7. And I go ahead and add this to the contours of my face, which is there and there. And my cheeks are pretty chubby since I've gained some college pounds, but that's okay because this is gonna cover up that chub. And if you were not here in the previous video, I do mention that I'm going to be taking a boot camp course, so I'm really excited about that, to get rid of this baby college fat. And I sometimes add a little bit right here to give some contour to my chin, and then a little bit underneath my lip to add some projection, some juiciness, and then right here on the sides of my nose. I am personally okay with using this on my nose because it still looks natural on this side, which hits the light, but the sides, however, will be contoured. So that is completely okay with me. Okay, so this is buffed out. As you can see, it's added some contour to my chin. And I'm going to buff out my cheeks. Oh, I'm doing it again. I'm going to use this one for my left side, and then I'm going to go ahead and use the contour brush I just bought on the other side. So you can see the difference, and I can actually test it out to see if I actually like it. So you can see this is pretty contoured pretty well. Looks nice and shadowy. Okay, so this is pretty buffed out, and there we go. Now I'm going to take this Real Techniques brush in the style 301, and I'm going to buff out this side of my face. And because I have dark hair, I don't have a huge problem with pushing the product into my hairline because my hair is dark, or at least my roots are. Got some blondie ombre going on. Okay, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. It's probably because I used it on the side that had my scars on it, but I'm gonna just buff it out with this brush. And I'll probably have to reconceal that because that brush really moved the product around underneath. Okay, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to this brush and buff out my forehead. Okay, so that has added some contouring to the outside of my face. I'm going to buff it a little bit and bring it down with my other brush. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and use this one on the nose. Working pretty well, actually. I'm digging this one. Alright. Looks pretty good. At least I think it looks pretty good. And then I'm going to go ahead and go in with NYX concealer again in the shade 2. And this is probably a little bit too light for me, but I had already used it, so I wasn't gonna waste it and throw it away and somebody just toss it in the trash because it's used. So I was like, might as well just use it. But I'll probably have to go for the shade 3, number 3, next time I purchase this. Right now, I'll just suffer the pale under eyes. Alright, and then I go ahead, I put it under my eyes, and then I also add it on my chin to add a nice light. And oh, and something that I know that I love to do, I don't ever see beauty gurus do this when I watch their channels, but I like to make sure that this high point of my cheek is very highlighted with concealer. Like where you would typically apply your highlight, I want that to be very, very bright before I add my highlighter. Alright. I might just add a tiny bit of concealer on this part of my nose, only because I did accidentally bring up some of the darker concealer to the tip, and that will allow the highlighter to look a little bit nicer. Okay, and so now I'm going to go ahead and buff this out with a concealer brush. So I'm going to again go in with the brush 102, the Real Techniques brush, and I'm going to blend this out. This is my first time using this brush for this product, so hopefully it comes out the way I want it to. Okay, so this is very bright. So what I usually do is I'll literally just move this product and buff it out and keep that really harsh look so that it'll settle into my skin, and then I buff it out with my buffing brush. Well, because this is so light, because the buffing brush already has a little bit of product from contouring, and I'll actually mix a little bit with this concealer and make it look a little bit more geared to my skin tone. Alright, so you see this is pretty harsh, pretty highlighted. Here it doesn't look too bad. Ooh, I forgot to buff that out. Just gonna use the bottom of this concealer brush, or the top. Alright. So it adds a nice natural shadow when my lips are at rest. Unless I go like that, you can really see the bronze. But I don't ever look like this, so there's no reason for me to do this at any point. And now I'm going to go ahead and start with my eyelash, or my eyelids with my Real Techniques brush 200. I'm going to add a base color, which I use my Kylie Cosmetics, the Holiday 2016 palette, and I go in with the shade Sugar Cookie. Sorry, it was a little bit, it's reversed back here, so I thought it was going to be like directly on top of the circle, but it's not. So this is the shade Sugar Cookie, and I use this brush to just kind of brighten my upper lid. And I go all the way up to my eyebrow, bring it down, and this just adds as a good base shade for me to blend other colors. I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing in this eye. Okay, and I do the exact same thing on my bottom lid. Alright, so as you can see, it's one color all the way down. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do my very basic routine, our eyeshadow routine, and I'm going to go in with, this is now Chestnut, which is this shade right here. And I love this shade, and I don't know how I haven't used that much. But I use this shade and I go ahead and add this into the crease of my eyes. Yeah. And I don't think this is the proper brush to be using for this, but it works for me. So I use this brush fairly often. I should probably use that pencil brush that I just got from Real Techniques. But I like the way this buffs, and it kind of blends pretty nicely. So if you can see that, you know, add a little bit more product up here, and I think that's good. The same thing on the other side. I'm not going for anything harsh, or I'm not really looking for a really good cut crease on my lid. I really don't care for all of that. This is honestly just my family. I'm not going to a fashion show, but I'm sure when I improve in time, I will probably start to do it naturally. So again, really easy. I'm going to cut my camera because I am running out of recording time, and I'm going to finish this look and buff out my face, and I'll show you the final product, and then I'm going to show you how I apply my mascara and how I do my brows. Alright guys, well this is the final look, and I really like it. I think that the lip really complements my skin tone, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day. Bye.